Where's the sound?
Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are on this spiritual journey, you are welcome. I am Thomas Lyon. I'll be your worship associate for today. And today's service will be led by our very own Pat Mehls. We'll also be live streaming on YouTube as well as on Zoom. We plan to continue to do hybrid service throughout the church year, so you can join us whatever way is most convenient for yourself. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway. And whether this is your first or your 1000th time, or maybe even your 10,000th time, we are glad that you came. We have a few announcements for today. Please wear a mask. Masks are available at the entry. RE today will be provided by Karen Alvarez as well as Pat Mehls. We will be collecting cards for Joys and Sorrows after our first hymn. Please fill them out or type them into the chat box on Zoom if you have something you would like to share. If you haven't voted yet, today is the last day of early voting, and the general election is on Tuesday. Next Sunday is our second Sunday potluck service, and the 20th we will be assembling dignity bags, and having a sale of goodies after church. Please let Karen Alvarez know if you would like to bake something for that sale. Are there any other announcements for the good of? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. As we prepare to fully be together, I remind you to silence your phones and your devices. We will now enter a space for worship. I invite you to join me in the chalice lighting words after our chalice lighting assistants come up. There you go. Right. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For opening words this morning, I'll share a little of my family background regarding church. Bill and I got involved in UUCC back in 1991, right at the beginning. At the time, I had two role models when it came to establishing my own personal level of church involvement. The first was my grandmother. We called her Bestie. The family lived in a small Wisconsin town, and my grandmother basically ran the Protestant church there. The official minister had a couple of other small churches to serve, so there was plenty for Bestie to do. She played the piano, sang, planned services, and preached at times. She didn't have legal authority to marry people, but she buried a few now and then. Her sons got up early, Sunday mornings, in order to shovel coal into the church furnace so the building would be warm for the service. Her daughters, including my mom, taught Sunday school to kids not much younger than themselves. And when the minister was in town, it was understood that in the early afternoon, he would join the family for a complete chicken and dumpling dinner with lemon meringue pie for dessert. During the week, Bestie was a one-woman social justice committee, visiting the sick, bringing goods to the destitute, comforting the bereaved. My mom was my other role model. After a childhood of family dedication to church, she was ready for a break. My parents opted for a large church where one could remain anonymous. We went fairly often when I was in grade school, but besides a sermon on Sunday and a quick cup of coffee at social hour, my parents dodged additional involvement. It was pretty obvious in 1991 at the fledgling UUCC that anonymity was impossible. Bill played the piano from the beginning, and I was happy to help with some tasks, but there were three things I swore I would not get involved with: asking members for pledges, giving a sermon, and singing a solo. The past few years, I have had a major role with the pledge drive. You've probably received a letter from me, or maybe even a phone call. And today, I'm going to give a sermon. But isn't that the reason we come to church? To stretch ourselves, to step outside of our comfort zone and do things we thought we couldn't do, all in the presence of this supportive and loving community. Now, please rise as you are willing and able and join us in our opening hymn, number 112, Do You Hear?
We are a community that holds one another in our celebrations and in our pain. We welcome you to share your joys and sorrows by writing them down on the cards found at your chair, or place them in the basket as they come around. You may also type them into Zoom. Know that whatever is on your heart, whether shared or not, we are with you. We will collect the joys and sorrows now.
Our current worship theme is You Are Enough, and I have a story from Aesop's Fables to illustrate that. So if any of the children would like to come down in front, they may. If not, I'm broadcast loud and clear here, so you'll hear me anyway, I guess. The story is The Lion and the Mouse. A lion lay asleep under a tree, his great head resting on his paws. A little mouse came up upon him unexpectedly, and in her fright and haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose and woke him from his nap. The lion laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature, intending to kill her and have her for a snack. "Spare me," begged the mouse. "Please let me go, and someday I will help you." The lion laughed to think that a tiny mouse could ever help a mighty lion, but finally he let the mouse go. Some days later, while stalking his prey, the lion was caught in a hunter's net. He could not free himself, and he filled the area with his angry roars. The mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion struggling in the net. Running to one of the great ropes that bound him, she gnawed it until it snapped, and soon the lion was free. "You laughed when I said I would repay you," said the mouse. "Now you see that even a little mouse can help a powerful lion." The mouse, like ourselves, was indeed enough.
Now is the time in our service where we join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support the church and its work. Each week, we would like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time and invite others with interest to join them in supporting the church and its programs. This week, the group that we'll be highlighting is the Worship Committee. Worship Committee does many different tasks, from running the camera or managing Zoom in the back, collecting joys and sorrows, as well as donations, as well as the worship associates guiding us through service every week. 1/4 of our plate this season goes to the harvest. This season's recipient is Habitat for Humanity, an organization that builds strength and stability and self-reliance through shelter. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or checks into the basket, or if you are joining from home or visiting on Zoom, you can go to canandaiguauu.org/collection/donate, or regardless, you may mail a check to UUCC at 3024 Cooley Road, Canandaigua, New York, 14424. In any case, make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering. right. I will now share a few of our joys and sorrows. One joy is the warm weather here, so late into the season, and concern over what that might mean on a larger context. Sorrow that we've now passed the peak of leaves, the color of leaves, but joy that it allows a greater view of the sunrise. Also thankful for being able to come to church online, even when it is when someone is not feeling well. I will place a stone into the chalice or water here to reflect all of the joys and sorrows held deeply in our hearts. At this point, we are going to send the children to childcare. Again, it will be Karen Alvarez as well as Kaya.
Now is a time for meditation, followed by silence and our meditation hymn. So settle into your chair, plant your feet on the floor, relax your shoulders, soften your eyes. This meditation is an adaptation of one titled All That We Have Been, All That We Will Become by Leslie Ahuba Fales, who's the pastor at the Fairbanks, Alaska UU Fellowship. All that we have been and all that we will become is stretched out before us and behind us, like stars scattered across the sky. We stand at the precipice like skydivers, working up the courage to jump. Tell me, what have we got to lose? Our fear of failure, our mistrust of our own talents, a poverty of the spirit? What wonders await us in the space between the first leap and the moment we touch down softly on unknown soil? What have we got to lose that we can't replace with some previously unimaginable joy? Well, I walk around Canandaigua quite a bit, and at the end of the summer, I was confronted by a large signboard's message in front of a mainline church on Main Street. It said something like this: "How are an unsharpened pencil and a life without God alike?" I'll repeat that. How are an unsharpened pencil and a life without God alike? Answer: they have no point. I was taken aback. I'm at a stage where I don't think there is a God, and having been to this church on Main Street a couple of times over the years, I also know that if I had some vision of a beneficent life force present in the universe, it would not be the God that this church promotes. Therefore, this sign was telling me that my life has no point. I know that it was meant to be a semi-clever riddle, but it stood in front of a large stone church, a representative of the institution of religion in a small town. It wasn't supposed to be just funny. It was calling the unsaved to join its ranks. But I found it demeaning. For people who are supposed to judge not lest they be judged, this sign seemed like a condemnation of my life. I had to question my understanding of the phrase, "to have no point." Maybe I was missing something nuanced, something that would indicate that in this context, to have no point would refer to no end point, an idea of the destination heaven. I Googled it. Synonyms for having no point were useless and worthless. I thought back over my adult life about the major commitments I had made over the years. Largest of all was my role as a mother. Anybody who has cared for a burping, pooping, fussing infant who survives to grow into the mindless bundle of scurrying energy and demolition specialist known as a toddler knows that their life has had a point. And those developmental stages are just the beginning. Added to the standard child rearing hurdles were our daughter's health issues, which added other tasks to our agenda. My life pointless? Then there was my role as part of the village that raised the kids in our neighborhood, over 30 of them on our short dead-end street. Several of us informally oversaw daily activities, especially when the kids were young. Riding trikes, playing sardines as dusk came on, building the playhouse in the backyard with children as hammer wielders, digging up the grass to plant a garden with them, constructing igloos, taking groups to the beach or the sledding hill or the playground. Certainly this added something to their lives' experiences. Surely this service was not worthless. And finally, there was my teaching career. I loved interacting with the kids, hearing their ideas, giving them means to express themselves, helping them learn about historical events and scientific concepts, giving them opportunities to experience empathy and to make a positive difference for others. This wasn't a one-way street. I certainly got a lot from them. Most importantly, they helped give my life meaning. Teaching was not a pointless exercise. In addition to these acts, we make financial donations to good causes, not the purse-emptying donation of the poor widow at the temple, which was praised by Jesus, but ours is an effort at charity. Somebody must get some benefit from these contributions. In all these roles, I know that what I was doing mattered. And yet this sign at the church seemed to be saying that acts of goodness do not matter without a belief in God. I thought back to my own 7-year study of Christianity. Granted, it was only at Sunday school from ages 5 to 12, but didn't the good works of the Samaritan, who we heard about often, matter? You remember that story. A man was traveling to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They beat him and left him half dead. A priest was going down the same road, and when he saw the injured man, he passed by without stopping. Then a Levite also walked by without helping. But when the Samaritan came upon the man, he took pity on him. He bandaged his wounds, loaded him on his donkey, and took him to an inn. There he paid the innkeeper to take care of the man and promised to return and reimburse him for any other expenses incurred while nursing the man back to health. Who were Samaritans anyway? According to the Bible Study Tools website, quote, the Samaritans, being a mix of already spiritually corrupt Israelites and pagan foreigners created a religion for themselves that the Jews considered heresy. To the Jews, a Samaritan was more revolting than a pagan. Samaritans were half-breeds who defiled the true religion. Obviously, the Good Samaritan was not among those whose life had a point based on the unsharpened pencil theory. Even so, Jesus held up the Samaritan as an example of someone who loved his neighbor as he loved himself. Calls to do good works appear repeatedly in the Bible. For example, in Leviticus, if your brother becomes poor and cannot maintain himself, you shall support him as though he were a stranger and a sojourner, and he shall live with you. From Luke, anyone who has 2 shirts should share with the one who has none, and anyone who has food should do the same. Again from Luke, give to everyone who begs from you, and from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. It goes on and on. So how does that church with the signboard get off declaring that my life and the lives of many others who contribute to society have no point? I wrote to its good Reverend Doctor a letter expressing my feelings about the inappropriateness of the sign and plenty of time for a reply before this sermon. I'm still waiting and must move on without his commentary, although I don't know what his topic is for this morning. Maybe it's people whose lives have no point. Thankfully, a large stone edifice housing a shrinking congregation of Protestants in a small American town need not be taken as a sole authority on the components of a meaningful life. Many others have also addressed the issue. Good. It seems as though in today's America, attaining happiness is the focus of many psychological studies, but happiness isn't the same as finding meaning in life. Baumeister, in his article, Is a Happy Life Different from a Meaningful One?, states that happiness tends to focus on the more superficial, wealth and the ease of life, for example. It's concerned with the present and what others or life gives the happy person. It blossoms with reduced stress and does not require one to express oneself. Baumeister goes on to explain that a meaningful life requires more from the individual. It requires an awareness of the past, present, and future, and the relationship between them. It involves giving to others rather than getting, facing challenges, which often engender stress, and the requirement to take a stand. Certainly, happiness can result from a meaningful life, but seeking happiness without meaning can be self-defeating and hollow. Another authority on the meaning of life is Viktor Frankl, who believed that a quest for meaning is the primary driver of human actions. He earned his bona fides during his 3-year ordeal in Nazi concentration camps, and the resulting work, Man's Search for Meaning, discusses his experiences in relation to the pursuit of a meaningful life. The conditions in these camps were designed to dehumanize the captives. Names gave way to numbers, hair was shorn, tattered rags replaced the captives' clothes. They subsisted on crusts of bread and watery soup in sparse quantities. He states that everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Frankl saw that pursuing a meaningful life was still possible by caring for another and in the act of remaining brave, dignified, and unselfish in the face of unavoidable suffering. Having a why to live for enabled some prisoners to endure the how. Frankl encourages us to stop asking the question, what is the meaning of life? And instead become aware of the questions life is asking us. Each of us is confronted by a unique set of circumstances and challenges. These can involve very personal issues or global ones. They can involve work, relationships, social and environmental justice, or unavoidable suffering due to a variety of causes. But all of them invite us to take responsibility, to consider strategies, and to act to fulfill through right conduct the tasks that life sets before us. This response is what gives meaning to life and has the potential to bring happiness along with it. To help set you on a path toward a meaningful life, Frankl recommends that you, quote, live as if you were living already for the second time, and as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now. I'll repeat that because you have to hear it a few times to really get it. He recommends that you live as if you were already living for the second time, and as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now. I think the perfect illustration of that comes from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Ebenezer Scrooge gets this opportunity thanks to the visits of the ghostly trio. He has a chance to connect his past, present, and future, and sees that he has wrongly made his life's goal the attainment of wealth, something Baumeister would say is an empty and disappointing quest for happiness. During the visit of the ghost of the future, he sees that his life is on a meaningless track. He asks the ghost, are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of the things that may be only? The ghost remains silent. Ebenezer continues, men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if persevered in, they must lead. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me, he begs. By being shown the future, Scrooge has a chance to see how wrongly he is about to act in the present, and is able to change his ways when he wakes up on Christmas Day. He recognizes a purpose in his life, that his wealth can be used to improve the lives of others. Instead of seeing them as lazy, frivolous, or mooching fools intent on draining his bank account, he builds connections with family, friends, and the wider community. He discovers meaning in life, and with it finds happiness. All this encourages me to believe that my life is not really pointless. Now, the feeling of being judged and left outside the circle of meaning that I got from the church's pencil riddle brought me back to another awkward encounter with Christianity. And I'll leave you today with a poem I was introduced to as a result of that experience. Actually, it was the piece I brought to Eileen's sermon writing workshop in hopes of sparking an idea that would result in a sermon. First, a little background. My roommate and I entered our small liberal arts college mid-year. It was obvious that we were new students, and I suppose we were happy to be invited to hang out with some sophomores one evening. It turned out that they were members of Campus Crusade for Christ, and before long, they were relating stories of being born again and implying that maybe we too should open ourselves to Jesus and find meaning in our lives. I was caught off guard, but my roommate, having been raised Unitarian, wasn't having any of it. She excused herself. Politely, I reassure her, and left. But the next morning, my roommate had posted this poem on our dorm room door. It's called Abu Ben Adem by Lee Hunt. Abu Ben Adem, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace and saw within the moonlight in this room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adem bold. And to the presence in the room, he said, what writest thou? The vision raised its head. And with a look made of all sweet accord, answered, the names of those who love the Lord. And is mine one? Said Abu. Nay, not so, replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, I pray thee then, write me as one that loves his fellow men. The angel wrote and vanished. The next night, it came again with a great wakening light and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, Ben Adem's name led all the rest. So is God necessary for life to have a point? I think not. Of course, that depends on your definition of God, but that's another sermon for another time and another person. I believe that just like an unsharpened pencil, our lives with or without God have potential, the potential to be worthwhile, meaningful, to have a point. That thought brings to mind Reverend Rita's sermon closing words, which tie in so well with the current worship theme of being enough. You are loved, you are worthy, you are welcome, and you are needed. May you feel it so.
There's no place in this world where I'll be lost when I'm gone. I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't breathe the brandy air when I'm gone. And I can't even worry about my cares when I'm gone. Won't be asked to do my share when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone. And I can't even suffer from the pain when I'm gone. Can't say who's to praise or who's to blame when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. Won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone. The evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. Can't be singing louder than the guns when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. All my days won't be dances of delight. And the sands will be shifting all the way from my side. Can't add my name into the fight. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone. And I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it. I guess I'll have to do it. And I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here.
May we each pause to listen for what life is asking of us and then act. And now we'll sing our closing hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Please join me in the extinguishing words while I extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.